Jeff Probst, thanks for coming in.
Nick, nice to finally meet.
Yes, so we will get to season 48, but you just dropped this huge season 50 news in the hands of the fans. Tell me a little bit about the genesis of that idea and how did it come to be?
The idea came when I was sitting in my office at home and thinking about 50 and realizing what I thought it should be is a thank you to our fans. Because like you're a day one fan. The reason we're still on is day one fans stayed with us and they let us try things. And sometimes they worked really well and sometimes they failed miserably, but our audience didn't leave. So that gave us permission to keep trying things. So I feel like the reason we're still on is, the people who play and the people who watch. And so honestly, I was sitting there and just the name In the Hands of the Fans came to me and I thought, that's the season. And now what do we do with it?
Now, as a creative mind, as a producer, was it hard for you to decide to kind of let go some of that control?
Yes, it is still, even in this moment, a little terrifying because we're used to designing the game. A goes to B, goes to C, goes to D. There's symmetry, there's a payoff. We kind of know what's going to be in the game. We don't know what's going to happen, who's going to find it or what they're going to do with it. But this is going to be truly an experiment. And I think it is the next evolution, which is let's give the fans an array of choices and then let's see what they choose and see what game we end up with. There's a tendency to say, well, I just want to have an impact, so I'm going to choose opposite of whatever's happening. So if that's what people do, then that's what we'll do. It's like if you ask me, would I ever give the players rice? Never. Because the cognitive decline that happens when they don't eat is significant. To me, it makes it more interesting. So I'm hoping fans will also take a breath and say, I want a certain type of game. What is the game that I want? Because we're going to give you choices. It won't just always be yes or no. It won't always be binary. It might be a flavoring. Like, do you want it to feel more like this or look more like that? So I'm very excited to see what happens.
Now, you teased that there's going to be an idol choice to make, a Final Four fire making challenge. Any other decisions you can tease at this moment of what fans are going to get to vote for?
Well, I don't want to tease anymore. I mean, we talked about the first four, the aesthetic of the season. What color scheme do you want? The camp life. Do you want them to have rice or no rice? The Final Four fire making I find really interesting because it's provided some of the most dramatic moments in our history. And yet I still meet people that say, I don't think you should do it. And this is what I always say, Nick, when people say, I think you should do a season with no idols, no advantages, no twists. And I say, okay, fair enough. Tell me your top 10 favorite moments of all time. All of them have an idol, twist, or an advantage related to them. That uncertainty is what makes the game interesting. The reason we started adding all these twists is because we quickly realized if four people can simply vote out the other three in order and there is nothing to stop them, that's not going to be interesting. So you start creating uncertainty. What if somebody on the three has something that can change the game? Now I got a problem. So I'm very curious. Survivor fans are very smart and very invested. If you want them to have rice, great, give them rice. If you don't want the Final Four fire making, well, they won't know what to encounter. That's the fun part, Nick, is that, the players will have this clue. They know all the things that could have been voted for, but they don't know which ones got into the game, which gives me as a player the ability to lie at will and say, oh no, that's in the game because I got one. And now I don't know if you're telling me the truth or not. So I think the big MacGuffin of this is the fans can pick whatever kind of game they want. Ultimately, the players won't know anyway. So that uncertainty is what's going to be, I think, the next evolution of the game. Is just taking a deeper dive on that.
I absolutely love that, and I will not tell you what I'm going to vote for the fire making because you might not like it. Let's go to...
No, I got to ask now. So you're going no.
I'm going no.
How come?
Yeah, because Chrissy was robbed.
Wow, so you're holding that...
Chrissy.
You're holding that grudge
Team
for Chrissy.
Yeah.
Team Chrissy.
If I have to boil it down.
What if Chrissy is on 50 and Chrissy makes it to the Final Four? And because of your vote, there is no fire-making challenge and she gets voted out.
Then I will have to live with that decision for the rest of my life.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Now, this is the first season with all returnees since Winners at War. You have had hundreds, 700-something players play this game. How do you whittle that down to 20 dynamic, colorful characters?
I am open to ideas because honestly, Nick, I'm usually pretty candid in interviews. We started with a roughly 200 people. We had all of our producers say, write down everybody you would like to see play in 50. No restrictions. So we had about 200. We said, okay, these are all interesting names, and you can make a different case for each of them. Then we got it down to 100. That first cut was brutal. It's kind of like an either or. Then we got it down to 70. And now there's blood everywhere. Yeah. So I am not going to lie and tell you we know who's going to be on the show right now, because we don't. And it was extremely exciting and painfully difficult to do, because there are going to be people disappointed all over the place. But there's going to be a lot of people very excited to be the representative of our 50th season.
Now, how far are we looking back? All the way back?
All the way back.
All the way back.
Season 1, player 1.
Winners on the table or off the table? So there's been almost 25 years since Survivor came on the air. When you look back and reflect on that, how do you feel about the legacy of the show?
I'm super grateful, because I mean, it changed my entire life. You know, everything changed when Mark hired me to be on Survivor. And I'm really proud. You know, we work really hard. We don't take this job lightly. And it's funny, it's such a fun, entertaining game, but we take it very seriously. You know, when we're out there, we want it to be great. We want to find a great group of people, which we have for 48. Then we want to give them a game to play, because in the game comes the show, which is the behavior, the choices, the dilemmas. What do? You and I just met. I'm already assessing, would I trust him? Or is he mad at me because of the final 4 fire making? So I know he's going to get rid of me. But those kinds of things make it fun. So I'm proud of the game we've designed over the years. I'm proud of the choices and chances we've taken, and I'm excited by what's to come. I'm as enthusiastic today, I think it's probably pretty clear, as I was when Mark said you got the job.